And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Mitth'Raw'Nuruodo from Thugs in White Armor, and he is a whale. Been playing for about 2.5 years, and he's actually kind of borderline dolphin whale. I'm not really sure I would classify him necessarily as a whale because he's at 3.5 million GP for 2.5 years. So he's more like a kind of a heavy dolphin. He does consistently invest, just not as much as some other people. So he wanted to know about some solid territory battle teams for his guild, so that way he can kind of shore that up and help make sure that he gets maximum scores. He wants to finish his Chewie, of course, because his Chewie's 5 stars. He wants to know the next 2 or 3 Zetas, some tunes that he should be kind of focused on, and then of course ships. He's doing all right in arena for himself, and ships he's doing pretty well as well, but he just wants to make sure he's kind of on track. He told me he is farming Old Republic. That is actually a part of what I am going to be suggesting. He's farming Bosk and of course Traya. All of those are things I would suggest. Now let's get right into it. Let's move into ships, and right now he's currently using Chimera, TIE Advanced, Imperial TIE Fighter, and Biggs in the initial 3 lineup, and this is actually for now exactly what I would be suggesting. But in your reinforcements with those, I would suggest your Phantom 2. I would also suggest your Slave 1, which you have pretty decent, actually really decent. Your Cassian starting to look pretty good, and then Sunfac down on the bottom for the stun, or you could bring in Poe Dameron. But that would be for now. There are some ships and whatnot I do recommend you actually invest in for territory battles and territory wars, so that way they become more effective. And the first, and I know you're working on it, is the Houndstooth. You're working on Bosk actively and the Houndstooth actively. This is a great ship. If it's probably the best tank in the game, if not the best. Definitely up there in the top 2 slots, but I personally would say it's my personal favorite for tanks. And since you're already going to be working on Bosk, you definitely need to get his ship up. It's going to be a slow grind on Houndstooth and on Bosk, but it's going to be worth the grind. Now, I sound like a broken record on most of these, but it is no joke. Geonosian's synergy, when maxed out, are insanely phenomenal. I still, to this day, use them in territory wars and in some territory battles, especially when you have to donate certain ships. These are a really great go-to team. They expand your viability, and they're just still phenomenal. With Houndstooth, most of the people in the top 10 for me are still using the Geos with Houndstooth, and they're doing very well climbing into the number 1 slot. So these guys are not past meta. They're still current meta, so I would highly recommend you work on your Geos, the 3 Geos and the 3 crew members, plus the Houndstooth. Now, you got Chewie to 5 stars, and you did pretty good with what you have, but you are going to go to 7 stars, and we already talked about the fact you're going to develop your Bosk. You've got him 6-star gear 9 with his leadership Zeta, so you're going to continue to try and take him up to gear 11 minimum. The reason for 11 minimum is because his ship, the crew power, does not unlock until he gets to gear 11 for that last level, so you need to get him to at least gear 11. It also increases his durability and viability for the 7-star event, and I'll tell you that Chewie event is probably the hardest legendary event they've had ever as far as the gearing requirements go. Now, the only other character in this list I would suggest is going to be Dengar, because he's gear 9. You're going to definitely want to get Dengar gear 11, and Dengar is insane. He's probably one of the best bounty hunters in the entire game for his own rights. But Cad Bane and IG-88 both have a ship, and they're 7-star gear 11, so those are great. And Boba Fett has a ship and is 7-star gear 12. So those 3 characters are probably sufficient. Just focus on Bosk and Dengar, so that way when Chewie comes back around, you'll be able to get him 7 stars. Now, you did say that you wanted to go ahead and check out light side and dark side territory battle teams, and you kind of need to have 5 teams for each side, because there's going to be a lot of substitutions needed, or times when they have certain characters they need you to plug in, as well as things you're going to donate, and so your teams are going to kind of fall apart. And so I'm going to go ahead and go through light side 5 teams and then dark side 5 teams, and it will kind of become apparent what you need to focus on. Now, the first is basically done, and that's Resistance. You've got Jedi Training Rey, R2, BB-8, Finn, Poe, Rey Scavenger, Resistance Trooper, and even Pilot would actually work in this. So you've got the ability to actually make kind of almost two hybrid teams. The Finn Zeta lead with the exposed train is really what I highly suggest. You should be able to go all the way through and get max points in territory battles with this Resistance team, and it leaves you with characters such as Jedi Training Rey and others to be able to take into other light side battles. Your Rogue One's actually looking really good. The first 4 are looking phenomenal. Your K2SO, I would get him to at least gear 10 or 11 so you can max out his crew power, because you are using Cassian in your backup lineup for ships, and you definitely want to make sure that you're powering up that ship, the Cassian's U-Wing, and that's going to take K2SO coming up. Plus, it will increase his durability and viability in territory battles and help you in Phase 6 be able to max out and get all max points from the Rogue One node. Now, you also have Rebels to be able to do a generalized Rebel team like Commander Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Biggs, and, you know, other characters such as Admiral Akbar and whatnot. So you have plenty of just bland Rebels to be able to plug in as well on either a Rebel specific node, which you should do very well on, or be able to use them on just a light side specific node. Now, this is the first team that you really do need to kind of focus on a little bit more. Sabine, Ezra, and Hera are good for now, but Chopper and Zeb you need to take up. Now, I know that they're Carbanti hogs because they're both tanks and it's just craziness, but you're using them as crew members inside of ships, and so they need to get to gear 11. They also will increase your viability and durability for the Phoenix nodes that are required inside of the territory battles light side, and so for them not to die and get destroyed, you definitely want to make sure that you get them leveled up. Now, we talked about Resistance and a couple of teams there, the Rebels, the Phoenix, and the R1, but now we're moving over to Jedi. Now, your Jedi are probably the ones that need the most work of everything, and this is also where we start talking about Zetas. You're actually wanting to know about the next 2 or 3 Zetas, and the first 2 Zetas I would suggest would be in Jedi. One would be Bastila Shan's leadership, the second would be Grandmaster Yoda's unique, in that order, and you want to continue to farm Bastila Shan. Now, you already said you're working on Old Republic tunes, all of them, so this is a no-brainer that you're going to work on Bastila Shan to get your Jedi team in order. Grandmaster Yoda, other than the Zeta, is ready to go. Ezra Bridger could be used in this team, is ready to go. If I was going to give you kind of a to-do list of the top 10 light side characters you need to focus on, General Kenobi would make the #1 slot for that, and that's definitely going to bolster this Jedi team. Now, really quick, I am going to give you a top 10 list of characters you should be gearing to a gear 11 minimum, or farming to 7 stars if you don't already have them 7 stars. We're going to do 10 on the light side, which will bolster for territory battles and wars, and then we'll do 10 on the dark side after I go through dark side teams. So the first is going to be, of course, none other than General Kenobi. The next are going to come out of Old Republic. You're going to be focused on Bastila Shan, Jolee Bindo, which will both bolster your Jedi team. T3, Zalbar and Mission. Zalbar and Mission will help you with smugglers and scoundrels, and also be able to help you with the Old Republic when Revan comes back. And T3 for Revan as well as droids. He's just a really great plug-and-play character. Out of smugglers, obviously Chewbacca will eventually come to 7 stars, but I would highly suggest Kira as the leader, getting her leveled up. Infus Nest and L3. L3 is one of the better tanks in the game. Infus Nest is just absolutely amazing, and Kira is the only lead for this entire group. Now that we've done light side, we're going to move to dark side. We're going to talk about the 5 teams you need to focus on for dark side territory battles, and at the end I'm going to give you the 10 characters that you should be focused on farming and gearing for all of these characters. And first, out of bounty hunters, you need a little bit of work. We already talked about it. Bossk and Dengar are the 2 you really want to focus on, but this team's going to work phenomenal in the dark side territory battles. In fact, it's required for a couple of nodes. Number 2, and it needs a ton of work, is your Imperial Troopers, and Death Trooper Veers look great. Shore Trooper and Snow Trooper and Range Trooper and Colonel Stark. Now, you could bypass Snow Trooper and just do Shore Trooper, Range Trooper, and Stark, but I would recommend all 4, as the fact that you're kind of a heavy dolphin / small whale, you should be able to go ahead and chew on all 4 of these characters. Shore Trooper is great for ships as well with his Death Trooper ship. And then Snow Trooper, just mass damage. Range Trooper is one of the absolute best because he brings about tons of damage and total durability for the team. And then Colonel Stark is an MVP as well. And Colonel Stark's actually required on one of the territory battle nodes. So you're definitely going to want to do that. In addition, Imperial Troopers are actually required in a couple nodes in territory battles. And then there are some Empire-specific nodes where you could take your Imperial Troopers in as long as they were leveled up. So these guys are going to become kind of a high priority for you. You really should. They're also really fun, and there's a number of events you can use the Imperial Troopers in to really kick some major butt. Now, your Sith look pretty good. The only Sith that are in here that I would kind of recommend you really start to focus on is going to be Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion. You already said you're working on Traya. You're kind of farming her up, and you've got Darth Sion almost 7 stars. So those two, you definitely want to gear up because you want them ready to go when you have Traya. Plus, they're excellent in territory battles. So these are great Sith to work on. Now, Night Sisters actually look ready to go. You could use them right now. Pretty good on Dark Side. I would go ahead and give you a project of Night Sister Spirit, finish her off to 7 star, and get her geared up, get Zombie geared up, and get Old Daka geared up. And the reason for that, Zombie should be at least gear 10. Old Daka needs to be durable, and Spirit is excellent for a lot of events, including territory battles and territory wars, because of the Dispel, Stun, and all sorts of stuff that she brings. So those are the 3 that I would really hyper-focus on. But as is, this Night Sister team should be able to get you max points all the way through territory battles from day 1 through day 6. And the last team, the kind of least important team, but it would definitely create viability and durability for territory battles, and it's just a great team, is First Order, and you've got your top 5 are going to work just great, but you need a Kylo Ren Zeta. Now, you're probably thinking, this team isn't that good. If you were to give Kylo Ren his Zeta, this would be the 3rd Zeta I am suggesting. This team goes from being meh to amazing immediately, even at gear 8 and 9. Now, if you are going to put that Zeta in Kylo Ren, you are going to also then be committed to working on the rest of the team and kind of getting them up. Now, the good news is Kylo Ren is got a ship that you may want to use for territory wars. First Order TIE Pilot, of course, has a ship. Kylo Ren Unmasked has a phenomenal ship, and with the Zeta, it would allow you to really bring him in his ship in as a ship that's viable for your front 3 with it being so good. And so First Order, while being a lower priority than some of the others, definitely is one I would consider looking at. Now let's go into the 10 dark side characters you should really focus on, either gearing or farming or both. All right, now the first 4 come by way of Imperial Trooper. We already talked about it. Shore Trooper, Snow Trooper, Range Trooper, and Colonel Stark. The next 3 come by way of Night Sisters, with Daka, Zombie, and Spirit needing to be starred and geared up. And then the last 3 come by way of Sith. That would be Darth Nihilus, Darth Sion, and yes, Bastila Shan Fallen. She is definitely not a marquee worthy character. She is better than that. She's absolutely amazing. Even if you can't farm her right now at only 3 stars, you could definitely make sure that you get her geared up. You're going to use her in lots of different territory war teams, and you could even use her in territory battles once she becomes farmable. So a definite addition. And then, of course, you said you were working on Old Republic, so continue to do so. In fact, I suggested the top 6 on this list as part of your top 20. Now, like I said, as a big dolphin / whale, you should be able to chew on those 20 characters. It will seal up pretty much every team you have and help you in every area of the game. Remember the Zetas, which was Bastila Shan, Kylo Ren Unmasked as 2 leaders, and then Yoda's unique. So Mitth'Raw'Nuruodo, you're doing really, really well. Another shout out to Thugs in White Armor. Congratulations on everything. You've looking really good for 2.5 years. You're kind of basically right on track and doing well. I think I've given you way more than enough to chew on for the next 3 to 6 months. So hopefully this will get you really hyper focused. As always, if anybody has any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.